Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this episode of Movies Merica, we are going to get freaky deaky. We're going to get weird and bizarre and strange and disturbing, yes. Because this episode, I will be reviewing the spawn of David Cronenberg's movie, Brandon Cronenberg, his movie, Infinity Pool.
In a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
Infinity Pool is directed, like I mentioned before, by Brandon Cronenberg. And also, as I mentioned before, Brandon is the son of legendary director David Cronenberg. David Cronenberg, you may know him as from his movies The Fly with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. He did Scanners with the guy's head blowing up, from the telekinesis or something like that. Also did Dead Ringers, where Jeremy Irons played like identical twins, like back in the 80s, and then A History of Violence and Eastern Promises, both with Viggo Mortensen in it. So that's some of the prominent movies that David Cronenberg has directed. And David Cronenberg is famous for making cinema that isn't necessarily comfortable. Now, I'll paraphrase, but David Cronenberg had a quote where I think he mentioned something about people like to make cinema for comfort. Well, I'm not interested in that. I like to make cinema uncomfortable, okay? And he definitely lives up to that in his movies. I mean, you watch The Fly. It's got some of the, the biggest gross out, moments, instances that you'll see on screen. You got A History of Violence and Eastern Promises, both pretty brutally violent, and Videodrome, James Woods, that's pretty out there. I mean, it's just very trippy movies. And so old dad would be proud, okay? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and Infinity Pool is proof of that Brandon Cronenberg is taking a few cues from the old man, okay? Now, his directing style does stand out on its own, though, in this movie. His dad's way of filmmaking, like with what he focuses the camera on and the editing, stuff like that. It's more traditional, where Brandon Cronenberg, his movies kind of look more artistic, more kind of more art house and whatnot. So Brandon Cronenberg, he's made, and you probably never heard of these movies here. So unless you're a real big film nerd. But he made a movie in 2012 called Antiviral, where people pay to be injected with viruses that celebrities have, just so they can feel closer and relate more to these celebrities that already have these viruses. And then there's a movie a few years ago called Possessor. And that's another horror movie as well, like Infinity Pool is. But yeah, Brandon Cronenberg, I think he's going to be around for a while. I was looking for somebody to take up the mantle from his father, because his father's movies they can be disturbing and whatnot, but they are kind of a breath of fresh air from just your conventional movie. If you just want something just to make your eyes pop out of your head, like, whoa, what am I watching? Oh my God. Okay, everybody. Hey, if you would do me a solid, all right? If you would click the old like button down here, all right? And the old subscribe button down here. I know they're calling to you. Come click on us. Yes, come click on us. And you know what? Answer the bell. Do it. Yeah, if you would, that'd be fantastic. I humbly ask you to click on the like button and the subscribe button that would be fantastic. Also, there's a notification bell down there if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, okay? I believe Rumble has one of those. Just in case they do, yeah, go ahead and click on that notification bell, and you'll get notified whenever I come out with a new episode of Movies Merica, okay? Just makes life so much simpler for you, you know? It's just like ordering a hot, fresh, piping episode of Movies Merica where you don't have to run out the door, jump in your car, drive down the street, and pick up your Movies Merica episode. No, it gets delivered to your humble abode. Yes, without you having to do a thing, all right? You're just going to be checking your email or on YouTube and you ding, and it's going to tell you, ooh, that hot, piping fresh, newest episode of Movies Merica has just arrived at my door. Enjoy. It would be an understatement to say that this movie features some pretty trippy, dreamlike, hardcore, sensual, and violent, nightmarish sequences. It's not that different from. There's a movie a few years ago with Nicolas Cage that came out called Mandy, where his wife, they unfortunately encounter like the satanic cult. And that movie also had, just like Infinity Pool has, just these weird out there, dream-like, like trippy kind of, moments, visions that they, put in front of you where you just can't really tell quite what's going on. It's, good trip, bad trip, that kind of thing. Also kind of reminded me of like towards the end of 2001, A Space Odyssey, where the astronaut, he's like speeding through space, like the monolith is transporting him, and you get all these crazy, multicolored, rainbow effects speeding through space, and it seems like when you watch that movie, it seems like it goes on forever, but it's very just dreamlike and a total distortion of the senses when you watch it. And this movie does have, Infinity Pool does have this, and at least in a couple of places. One of the places it has it is when they're cloning Alexander Skarsgard's character. And so if you have somebody that is, that doesn't react well to the old strobing effect, how you get that warning sometimes. People are like, hey, look out for this movie. This strobing effect, you might be negatively affected. This movie does have that, and it has that warning because there's a lot of strobing going on in this movie. And in the sequence, they start suddenly, and then they end abruptly. And it's weird because it's like when they end, it's like they bring the movie back to like just conventional, normal life, and you're like, okay, where are we at in the story? Like, where? I don't get it. Where that weird, warped, trippy dream sequence that I just watched, like, where does that fit in the plot and whatnot? Was that real? Was that what was that? And so I find it hard to believe that I'm the only one that would think that in this, and so that kind of threw me off a little bit in this movie. You just don't know like how the character got where they're at after that trippy sequence just abruptly ends. So I guess for me that does kind of add to the mystery of the movie and makes it stand out for me in a positive way. Okay, because you're just like, oh, I don't know whether to scratch my watch or wind my butt. I don't know. I mean, it's don't know which way is up, which way is down, and when you're watching it, and you just have to just kind of do just kind of reset your brain, after you watch it. But that's one of the calling cards of Infinity Pool. Infinity Pool is definitely not a straight up bloodfest, gore, hardcore, just a bunch of violence kind of movie. It's not like Terrifier 2 or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or anything like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of gore in this movie, so, if you're a gore fan, you will not be disappointed. Now, if you're trying to compare it to, like I said, Terrifier 2, a movie like that, where that movie is just straight up like it's practically a snuff film. where it's just straight up blood and guts, the whole time. If you're into movies like that, me personally, not really my top classification of movie that I like to go check out. I like a movie that has some actual plot to it, that's interesting. And so Infinity Pool fits into that bill where it's got the gore and the violence, but these shocking moments are legit parts of the film that add to the progression of the story. Okay, they're not just in there, as for shock value and to try to, artificially pique your interest. Okay, and also the gore and the story in which it's in serves as kind of like an allegory for how the rich and elite can lead hedonistic lives at the cost of the common folk. The common folk being, in this case, the residents of this fictitious country that this resort is in. And they could do this because they have the money to repeatedly pay for clones of themselves to be executed for their crimes instead of them, right? So they just have carte blanche, right? They just go crazy, They're just like, man, I can just do whatever I want. And, if with certain people, I mean, can you just imagine that kind of freedom, like what a certain personality of person would think about that, right? Okay, so if you're a good person, you know this, the rules, and if you're rich enough and you could pay for a clone to get executed over and over again, if you're a good person, you're like, yeah, but that still doesn't give me an excuse to go out there and rob and kill and maim and all that. I'm not gonna do that. I mean, these are fellow human beings. I'm not gonna do that. But these are sick, twisted people we're talking about, people, in this movie, okay? And so you'll find that out when you watch this movie. Now, one thing that this movie misses with the allegory, that the message that the movie is trying to tell you, is that nowadays, in this day and age, it's not just the rich and elite that can get away with crimes, okay? In real life, we see a lot of the quote-unquote common folk can get away with crime after crime after crime, with virtually no repercussions whatsoever, okay? And that comes in a form of course, like bail reform laws, and like in cities and that kind of thing, where you can punch people in the face in the street, you could steal their purse, you could beat the crap out of people on the street, you go into jail for 5 minutes, don't have to pay any bail, you get right back out, commit another crime, go back to jail for 5 minutes, come right back out because you don't have to pay bail, so on and so on and so on. So this movie misses out on that fact that, the common folk, there are ways in this current day, and hopefully it'll change at some point, probably won't, but this day and age, it's not just the rich and elite that can get away with, crimes and injuring and doing dirt, to their fellow man. It's, they missed the boat on that one. Okay, my friends and family, as you know, Movies Merica is the home where movie reviews meets ice cold brews. And this episode's lucky brew is Harpoon Dunkin' Pumpkin. Let me put this over here where you can actually see it. There we go. Can you all see that? Yeah, here you go. Here it is. So, Dunkin' Pumpkin. So, take a wild guess what this beer tastes like, okay? Take a stab in the dark, all right? And it's pretty tasty. It's not too sweet, okay? So what you might think is if you hear Pumpkin Dunkin', Pumpkin Dunkin', okay? Sounds like a cartoon character. Pumpkin Dunkin', or Dunkin' Pumpkin, there you go. So Harpoon Dunkin' Pumpkin is not as sweet as you would think it is, all right? So they know better, okay? They know that somebody wants a pumpkin beer, they don't want to drink, like pumpkin milk or something like that, right? It's not too thick. But so again, and I'm not getting any money from this brewery, as I always say every episode of all the breweries that I review beers for. Not getting any endorsement dollars for this. It's just beer is just one of my loves, just like movies. And here I am combining two of my loves. All right, so you know what? My voice is getting a little parched. I wonder what I can do about that. Oh, I think I know what. All right, check it out. The debaucherous acts that the rich and elite people in this movie do, it did remind me of Alex and his gang of droogs from A Clockwork Orange back in early 70s, the Stanley Kubrick film A Clockwork Orange, where they would go and they would commit acts of ultra violence, as they called it. And they had a notable scene towards the beginning of the movie where they break into these rich people's house, and they do unspeakable things to these people. Okay, again, the ultra violence that Malcolm McDowell's character of Alex commits in that A Clockwork Orange movie. And so there are scenes like that in Infinity Pool that did remind me of that quite a bit. The characters, the rich, elite characters in Infinity Pool, they just simply don't care about the people that they're turning into victims. They have no pity, no empathy whatsoever. Okay, because these guys are drunk on their own power. They're drunk on the fact that they can do this and they can get away with it. Like I said, they just they can just pay to have a clone executed in their place for this right there. So I'm guessing this is probably a side effect of this policy of this country that they just didn't plan for. They just didn't foresee. And so it just makes the citizens, the residents of this fictitious land, just chattel, right? It's just it's just meat for the meat grinder, so to speak. Okay, and it's so you would hope that human empathy would kick in, and these folks would not do that. These evil, these cruddy evil people wouldn't do that. But you know what? Like they say, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and it's that's one of the disturbing things about this movie. I mean, like I said, David Cronenberg and now Brandon Cronenberg right here. Again, they don't believe in making cinema necessarily comfortable. They want cinema to be uncomfortable. Okay, I guess they want you to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and this movie, it leads to that. Okay, that's a side effect of this movie, and I mean it's disturbing, but it is never uninteresting. I will tell you that. Okay, it makes you feel like, man, I'm glad I am not that, and it's also kind of a cautionary tale. Okay, it's makes you think, most definitely. Alexander Skarsgard's character has been sleepwalking through life. That's the impression you get when you first meet his character in this, because he's married rich. Okay, his wife M is the daughter of this multi-million, maybe multi-billion-dollar publisher. Okay, who just so happens to be the publisher of his book. That failed 6 years ago in this. So his marriage to this woman is probably the only reason that his book was published in the first place. And even though it was published, it failed. Okay, and so he hasn't been writing, so he hasn't been getting any revenue, hasn't been bringing any income into the family. So M and her dad, are just rich, and so he's just been able to just kind of coast through life so far with this. And so, like I mentioned before, he goes to the resort with M, his wife, to be inspired Whoa, woo, boy. There you go. That beer's having an effect on me. So, again, woo, hazards of the trade. Okay, so that wasn't cool. All right, back to the movie. So yeah, he goes there to be inspired. He just, I guess, hoping to have some kind of experience that, you know, just kind of gets a spark, lights the fuse, right? To where he can, you know, get his imagination going and that kind of thing. But he's naive because how, you know, going there to this resort and being pampered and having no turbulence in your life, you know, everything's smooth sailing because you're being served left and right, you know, you're just living this vacation life. How are you supposed to be inspired by that, right? I mean, I wouldn't be inspired by that unless you're going to write a book about resorts or something like that, or you're a travel reviewer or something like that. But what he doesn't know is that his difficulty-free life is about to take a 180-degree turn, my friends, okay? Little does he know. And it's something to watch in this movie when he does it. And also one thing that occurred to me watching his character is that he must feel totally unaccomplished, okay? When you first meet him and he's had this failed book and he hasn't written anything in 6 years. I mean, he just must also feel powerless, right? Because he's not the breadwinner in his family. His wife is, okay? And so he just feels kind of, I guess, just kind of impotent in a way. And that explains why he goes down the path that he chooses to go down. Okay, make no mistake about it. When you watch this movie, he chooses to go down this path, okay? And it's something to watch. Now, Alexander Skarsgard's wife, M, in this movie, doesn't really have a chance to do really much of anything in this movie. She's just kind of like, she's like kind of just a like bland, like a saltine cracker in this. She's just the sensible character that just represents how the audience is reacting to what they're seeing, you know, happen. Okay, she's like, you know, she represents the shock and the, you know, and the wow, just the the inability to take it in, right? Okay, it just a completely knocks her off her feet, just like most people who watch this movie will feel when they watch this movie. And she also represents like a normal life, okay? Because this movie is anything but normal. It's quite abnormal. And so she is kind of like the grounded rock foundation of a normal life that Alexander Skarsgård could return to and could stay with, okay? Now, does he? I don't know. You'll have to watch the movie to find out. But M is played by Cleopatra Coleman, who, you know, if I'm completely honest, I'd never recognized the name. I don't know her. The only thing I could think of that she was in that I recognize is she was in a Deftones video that I saw, and I'm a big, like, Deftones is like in my top 5 bands of all time. And so when I saw her, I'm like, I'm pretty sure she was in a Deftones video. And I looked it up, like, oh yeah, she's in the Ceremony video from Deftones. You know, Cleopatra Coleman is in that. But yeah, so unfortunately for Cleopatra, her character M just isn't really given anything, you know, juicy or interesting, you know, to really do in this movie. I guess maybe Brandon Cronenberg wanted her to kind of just be this, just, you know, flat line, just smooth, steady, not particularly remarkable character as a contrast to all this, the nuttiness, the looniness, you know, that happens in the rest of this movie with the rest of the whacked out characters. All right. Well, so another character in this movie, another primary character is Gabby, and she is played by Mia Goth, who to me is undoubtedly the standout of the movie for me. Just her duplicitous character arc still just kind of sticks in my craw. in the to just basically to say that I can't stop thinking about it or stop marveling about how effortless Mia Goth made it look for her character Gabby to go from like this maternal to vulnerable to just being outright just psychotic effortlessly, okay? Because when you first meet her character, she just kind of comes off as just kind of an unassuming, timid, vulnerable character. Like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. Oh, I read your book, and oh, yeah, well, I guess having a good time at the resort. Oh, yeah, like just kind of just a normal, vulnerable, personable person. And then by the end of this movie, wow, you just think back after the end credits are rolling, thinking about Mia Goth's character, Gabby, and you're like, wow, just all the different iterations of her character that we got, just the different personalities, the different sides of her character that we saw, and so I would say that she should be looking for some awards. Now that's almost a year from now, because this movie's in 2023, so probably, well, there's gonna be two things that's gonna work against her. One is this movie is coming out too early in the year for the Oscars and all the other awards show, in almost a year to really appreciate, and think about. Two, this is technically a horror movie. Okay, so she's got that working against her. But you may have heard of Mia Goth. And the reason you may have heard of her is because Mia Goth really is the it girl right now for the non-normie film goer. Okay, so to a non-normie, a film nerd like me, Mia Goth is definitely one of the it girls right now. Just from her performance last year in the movies X and Pearl. Okay, those are two other horror movies that she was in. Apparently, she likes being in horror movies. Okay, so why not? She definitely has a flair for it. I mean, she slips into these horror movies. Like you slip into a nice, comfy pair of slippers in the morning, getting out of bed. I mean, she is just, the horror genre is just her natural playground. Okay, and it's no different in this. Now, her character in this movie, Infinity Pool, is much different than her character of Pearl in Pearl, and in her character in X. Now, I would say, and I am definitely not alone in this opinion, that she should have gotten an Oscar nomination for Pearl. Okay, but unfortunately, like I was kind of implying before, Oscar voters, they think of horror movies as unsophisticated, and they think that they're uncultured. They lack refinement. Okay, you're never gonna enjoy some Grey Poupon while watching a horror movie. Ooh, egads! I can't be watching a horror movie while I'm eating fresh caviar. No, no. But so. The Oscar voters, just got their nose up in the air, when it comes to horror movies. There's uppity about horror movies there. So, unfortunately, Mia Goth had no hope in hell of being nominated for Pearl, which she really, really should have. But, yeah, I think, when you watch Infinity Pool, I'd be very surprised if, for you, Mia Goth was not the standout for you as well. I know. You're sick of, me talking about it. I get it, But, hey, again, I am going to ask you to like this video or subscribe or unsubscribe to this channel, okay? The buttons are right down there. Makes it so easy, so easy. All you got to do is move that mouse just over there and just click and hit the buttons right there, okay? Like and subscribe, all right, if you would. And then there's that notification bell down there as well. Also, I would love to hear from you. Okay, I don't just do these for these episodes for myself. I do it because I want to connect with you. Okay, and in a non-creepy way. Okay, I want to hear from you about the movies that I review for you. Okay, all right. I love discussing movies with people. Okay, I probably bore the heck out of people with how much I want to talk about movies. Okay, and maybe you're the same way. Maybe you love talking about movies, but you're like, yeah, but everyone like groans when I start talking about movies because I won't shut up about them. All right. Well, you know what? In the comments section of this episode, you don't have to shut up. All right. You can go crazy, go wild, write 17 paragraphs about what you think about this movie. All right. Tell me what you liked about Infinity Pool. Is there anything you didn't like about Infinity Pool? Who was your standout character? Was there any moments that made you go, oh my God? Like, if there was any moments like that, tell me what that was. I'd love to hear from you down in the comments section. That would be fantastic. All right. So, all right, on with the show. This movie most definitely veers into eyes wide shut territory, just slightly, with the use of some disturbingly ugly masks that they introduced pretty early in the movie. So there's a scene at the resort where they're all getting together, for breakfast, and they have, like the activities director or something like that at the resort come on out and, hey, everybody, hey, we're going to be, having these activities here you can take part of and enjoy our breakfast bar over here. And also check out these masks over here that we have for sale at the gift shop, and they show people wearing these masks. These masks are hideous. They're ugly and creepy and very disturbing and unnerving. Okay. And they sell these in the gift shop of this resort, of this tropical, idyllic, resort here. And so it kind of makes you wonder, like, okay, maybe the runners, of this resort, maybe they know what kind of people are coming to this resort. They're like, people that are, ugly on the inside, and so these masks are apropos for the people that come to our resort. And so these masks, the reason I bring them up is because the masks, when the the evil characters in this movie use them, it reminded me of the masked party, to put it nicely, the masked party scene in Eyes Wide Shut. So Stanley Kubrick's last movie there, where Tom Cruise shows up at this secret society masked party at the end. So so Infinity Pool and these masks definitely reminded me of that. And so the ugliness of these masks serve as like a manifestation of who these people are. Okay, like I kind of alluded to here, who these people are while they're doing these jacked up, disturbing things. Okay, it shows like who these people really are, and sure, the people that are doing this, the resort, people from the resort, they dress stylishly. They sound educated and sophisticated and whatnot, but they really come to this resort just to give into their most animalistic and base desires. Okay, they just want to live this life of hedonism. Okay, at the cost of whatever and whoever. They don't care. Okay, and so that's just the scumminess of these characters, and they're led by Mia Goth's character in this. Okay, so if you haven't gathered from my review so far, I would definitely go check this out. Again, don't bring the kiddies. Okay, don't do it unless you want to warp and twist them for the rest of their lives, in a way that no child psychologist will ever be able to get them out of. Okay, so if you want to avoid thousands and thousands of dollars of child psychology, which won't work because this will warp and twist them for the rest of their lives. Okay, leave the kiddies at home. Okay, take them to Puss in Boots instead. Okay, so anyway, check this movie out. And again, yes, if you would like and subscribe to this video, so like the video and subscribe to the channel down below. Hit the notification bell to be fantastic. If you're just listening to this like as a podcast on say Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, then yeah. Go ahead and hit the 5-star rating there. That'd be fantastic. Write a review. Let me know, hey, what you think of it. And be honest. I mean, I'm not perfect whatsoever, right? So these episodes aren't perfect. I'm sure I slip up and I can do things better. I am totally aware of that. And so any suggestions would be great. Any feedback you got would be fantastic, all right? Because I'd love to hear from you guys, absolutely. And I try to do my best to get back to everyone that reaches out to me, because I'm on that end too. I reach out to other creators, and I like to interact with them, and I love it when they get back to me. So I don't want to be that guy who doesn't get back to you. So I love hearing from you, okay? All right, so enough of that. As I always say here, hey, people, get out there. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. Have a great one.
Hey, guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got the popo. They're coming after me, and I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here, down below. It's right down there. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here too. You'll be doing me a big favor. I'll be in handcuffs pretty soon. All right. Thanks for watching.